Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this post-match press conference. We have head coach from Team Canada, John Herman. We'll go with the questions for media. We'll start with John Molinaro.
Thank you. Hey, John.
Hey, John.
A valiant effort despite, giving up the early goal. What did you make of the team's performance despite the loss?
It's hard. It's it's just a bit raw now. I think in the huddle at the end, a couple of the boys spoke, and I think it's a valiant effort, and it's there's a bit of pride in there. But at the same time, we gotta win these games, and I think it was a good learning for us. Again, that first 25 minutes, I thought the US they tactically they were able to cause that back five problems. Greg had obviously put some work into just putting Roldan in positions, not Roldan, bloody legit in positions that were difficult for us. But I think we adapted at the water break and were able to shift into a 4-4-2 and in that 3-box-3 attacking and started to take control of the game. So, some good learnings in there. I think it's difficult to adapt, a full structure from the side of the field, but you can see it needs to happen. So, that water break came at a great time. And I think from that point, the boys started to, get that pitch control and started asking a lot more questions. And again, I think the US, when I looked at their stats, I think they had one shot on target. So, yeah, it was it's just disappointing, John. I don't really know how to summarize that game. Just a bit of pride in the effort from the guys. I thought we showed some good adaptability, but just disappointed. There was a big chance there to beat the US at home and go top of the group. So we'll recoup. We've got 7 days to the quarters, and rest these boys off and get them ready for whatever comes next.
Neil Davidson.
Thank you, John. A lot happened in that match. I think most people would say your team deserved a better fate and possibly a penalty. What was your view of the?
Dear, well, I'm always shouting for penalties. That's the MO of the coach. But I can't see from those distances. I mean, that whenever a defender falls across an attacker like that, you always wonder. You always feel it's going to go your way. I thought it was going to go our way. The push on Richie, I'm not sure. You're never close enough, Neil. I think if they've got VAR, you just got to trust that they make the right decisions. And like I say, we'll get some decisions in the next rounds, I'm hoping. And we did in the previous one against Haiti. So, look, at the end of the day, I think we had enough shots. We got into enough good areas. I don't think we were threatening enough when we got in and around that penalty area. There were moments we just had to serve the ball into the box. We've got, real predators in there and Lauren Cavallini. And we just wanted that extra pass to come back across. And I just thought that was a big missed opportunity. And it was actually something from the game in Orlando. We talked about, taking those early crosses and as it gets cut back, hitting those diagonal passes to the back post. But as I say, under pressure, it's easier said than done. So, all credit to the lads. If we were more clinical, I think we may have came away with something else there.
Derek Van Diest.
Hey, John. I just want to ask you about the important lessons in playing these really intense matches and having to overcome the adversity of maybe not getting a call your way and giving up the early goal. And down the road, how important are matches like this? Because you're learning those lessons and you're learning how to deal with when things don't go your way, you have to deal with them. And I thought you guys dealt with them incredibly well today after, losing a player in the first 20 minutes, not getting a penalty call, giving up an early goal. These are important lessons for these young kids to learn.
Yeah, it was a bit of a wild game, and I just said at half time, you've been on a bit of a roller coaster, with the Martinique goal, and and I think they know how to respond now. I think that's been the beauty. I think today it was more just adjusting tactically. It's we've been coaching now for, I don't know, maybe the last 6 games with no crowds, and on the sideline you can change everything within a heartbeat. But today, you know, you're back in with crowds and you need those moments. So like I say, the water break couldn't have come quick enough for us to just adjust into that 4-4-2. But I was really happy with, you know, how they did that. You know, that immediately Liam Fraser and Sammy Piet were able to take control, and we asked them a lot of questions, and that continued. They adjusted their shape second half, but we still were able to cause problems. So I think the lessons are there, Derek. We have to go through these experiences together. And I think, you know, the Octagon is going to be another hell of a ride with, you know, going into countries with referees, etc., crowds. You know, today was one of those moments. And you think like Tyler Pasha coming in there, Liam Fraser has played a couple of games for us. Tejon Buchanan on his sort of third senior cap, I think it is. You know, there's guys there that you know, this is the start of a great journey for them. So while I'm pissed with the performance today, the result, you know, you'll go in and, you know, be pretty happy with some elements of that performance that we can set ourselves up for the quarterfinals in. But definitely the adaptability was key today.
Andrea Canales.
John, it's early, but what's the injury status on Ayo and some of the other guys? And also, you had mentioned before that the layoff before the quarterfinal, you think hurt the guys. What is your plan to kind of mitigate, I don't know, distractions or lack of focus this time?
Well, I think last time we just, I think, romped Cuba 7-0, setting goal records. And I think that was part of the overconfidence, you know, from the group. I think, you know, this is probably a good moment for us. The team are a bit beaten up. They definitely need this recovery period. There's no doubt they're going to need that time to breathe now. And I think when you get hurt like that, emotionally, mentally, it really does, you know, sharpen the focus in. And just hearing them, and I'm always interested. It's that immediate moment after the game. You know, who are the men then? When the emotion's still there, and, you know, hearing how tight they were when the men spoke out on the field, you can sense that. I don't think the focus is going to be an issue through this period of time. I think if we beat the US and, you know, got a big result there, that's where your feet come off the ground pretty quickly. And over 7 days, there's like a process where guys think it's going to be easy. So, you know, maybe that was a blessing in disguise. And, you know, all of us, our fingers are crossed that we see the US again in that final. I mean, that'll be awesome.
Michael McCall.
Hey, John. I think for years, although Canadians have seen this as a big rivalry with the US maybe haven't. But you can see today that there's a right niggle out there in the pitch, and it does feel now that the Americans know that they have got a rival just north of the border in Canada. Can you talk a little bit about what you've experienced with that of late?
Yeah, I think, you know, it was part of the pre-game meeting where we were able to show just a little bit at the end of Toronto, October 15th, 2019. But we were able just to show some pictures of the US players' faces, and just the doubt that we know is in their mind now. For 20, you know, or 34 years, there was never a doubt in their mind they were going to beat Canada. There was never a doubt in their mind, even if Canada showed up and were gritty and resilient, that they would find a way to win in the final 20 minutes. And we just said, look, you earned that right to put that doubt in their minds. So again, if tactically we're on the page, if the intensity's there, always in the back of their mind, they know Canada can win this match. And, you know, while the US won tonight, I thought they were dominant in the first 25 minutes. I've got to take my hat off to Greg and their team. They earned that first goal, and they earned you know, the first 25 minutes of the game. But I think from then, Canada took good control, and there'll be more doubt, I think, coming into hopefully a final match in Las Vegas if both teams can make it.
Take 2 more questions. Peter Galindo will finish with Neil Davidson.
Hi, John. You know, you spoke about the game after the break in the first half, and it seemed like Tejan Buchanan, after those changes, really took over the game. What did you make of his performance?
Yeah, I think it was solid, but I have to say it was the pitch control that Piet and Fraser were able to establish. I thought, you know, when we shifted our defensive structure, but we were able to move into that 3-box-3, which is how we would attack, you know, whether we play with a 4-4-2 or a back three defensively. So I just think, you know, those two guys were key to being able to establish the possession, because we were able to win it back, Peter, and we were more sound centrally, and they were closer to our centre backs on the regains. So it just meant that we could move it into Tejan quicker. And obviously he was, you know, starting higher up the field. But I also have to say, Hoylett, I think him starting in, you know, in that change, he played in that number 10 role and was able to just get more fluidity and found those spaces. So he was more flexible, which, again, I thought they had some problems finding Junior. It wasn't as rigid where he'd always be sort of left top of the box. He was, you know, free around that front two, which allowed him to link and then find Tejan. So there was a domino effect, I thought. But obviously, there's no doubt Tejan Buchanan, again, given that's his third game, guys, third game in a row, he was getting cramps in his hammies, and he was still willing to push through that last 20 minutes. I mean, that guy's he's a player. He's announced himself at this tournament, and I'm just gutted when he cut inside. I thought he was going to score in that top corner. I think if he was a bit fresher, that goes top corner, and he's wheeling away, you know, celebrating. But hopefully more to come after the recovery.
Neil Davidson.
John, is there any early update on Io and Kyle?
Yeah, I think with Kyle, it was more of a dead leg. He took a knee to the muscle, so it would just be probably a hematoma in there. That's what we hope. No major sort of soft tissue damage outside of a collision. And I think Io might be more problematic. Yeah, he just felt a little twist in the knee as the player came across him. So, you know, sometimes they look worse than they are, and he definitely had some mobility. You know, it wasn't that he was getting stretched or crutched out if he was able to walk on it. I think it was maybe more precautionary from the medical team. So we're fingers crossed there. And like I say, it's tournament football. Like, these things happen, and I guess if we're suffering, I'm sure other teams will be suffering as well with injuries and other bits.
Coach, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Conclude the press conference with
Thank you, Tim.
Canada. Thank you, everyone, for standing by. We have head coach from Team USA, Greg Harter. Before we open the proper questions, we'll start with some opening remarks.
Thanks. I just want to commend my group for the effort today. I think it was you know, an amazing start to the game, and then there was a lot of suffering. But you saw, knowing what we had to do, knowing that we wanted to win the group, I think the guys persevered and showed amazing character and amazing effort under really difficult conditions, namely the heat and the opponent having the ball for a large portion. But overall, you know, we achieved our objective of the group phase, was to win the group, have the best goal difference in the group, and we're there. And now all the focus is on the quarterfinals and you know, preparing for either Jamaica or Costa Rica. Thank you.
Stephen Goff.
Hey, Greg, you mentioned the suffering that you had to endure throughout the day. Why do you think that was in terms of the play and the performance?
So I think that, you know, in these type of conditions, when you have the ball, you need to keep the ball. And because when you don't have the ball, it's going to be difficult to get it back. You know, it's hard to bring the high intensity in weather like this. So you need intensity to win the ball back. And for us, it was a matter of just keeping the ball, making them run. At times we did it really well in the first half. Second half, very rarely did we keep it. And then we ended up defending.
Sean Goodwin.
Hey, Greg. Obviously, scoring goals at any point is important, but when you score one that early in a game where you have to win to finish first, how important was it to score that early to just settle the nerves? And yeah.
Well, where are you from, Scott?
Where am I from?
Yeah, what's your native country?
England, Liverpool.
Yeah, exactly. So you know exactly, right? England's playing at home in the Euro finals at Wembley, and they score within 2 minutes, and everyone thinks that's great, and it is great. But what you have is you make the match very difficult. Now you have to manage the next 88 minutes. We have to manage the next 89 and a half minutes of the game. And at times we did it really well, and at times we didn't. But what we did the whole game was show amazing effort and amazing character. And you could see, you know, I was telling the guys, when you want something bad enough, and we wanted to win the group, you put out that type of effort. So again, really, really proud of the effort of the guys, and you know, having to go through injuries and go through water breaks and go through, you know, physical play. I think they did a great job.
I've got her.
Greg, I wanted to ask you about two guys in particular, James Sands and Miles Robinson. James Sands, you know, obviously you give him this big opportunity, and he's been great all tournament, and he's playing a bit of a unique role. He was in the midfield quite a bit, and he had a lot to do, and he had a good game. What'd you think of him? And as far as Miles goes, he just stepped up and put out so many fires today. Did he really show you kind of what you were hoping to see from him in this tournament today, just kind of showing that elite level of defending?
Definitely. You know, when you have speed like he does, you know, it makes it so much easier on your group, you know, whether that's stepping in with a really big dynamic or it's recovering behind you. You know, he had a number of 1v1 duels. I think a one in the second half against Buchanan, who's a really good player, and he handled it well. So I think Miles, you know, has taken us at the next step, and now it's about in knockout games. You know, can he recover now, and then in knockout game, can he repeat that same type of performance? With James, you know, I really liked him moving up into midfield. He gave us a numerical advantage, and we were happy with it. I think at times it worked really well. But you know, James, I think in the first 20 minutes of the game was I think one of the best players in the field. I mean, he was dominating the game, stepping forward, winning the ball, really calm on the ball. And then as it went, like most of the team, it was hard to sustain that level because of the conditions.
Paul Tenorio.
Thank you. Greg, I wonder what you may have learned from some of the players who were going through a game like this for the first time, and not just the competitive side of it, but like you said, kind of struggling to win the ball back and having to defend for that long. Did it teach you about some of these younger guys that you have in camp, and does it impact maybe what you think about the lineup for the quarterfinals as well? Thank you.
Yeah, well, we'll have enough time to recover, to get fit and recover. But, you know, there's certainly something to be said about, you know, this type of heat and how you manage a game and what type of structure you want to have in the game. And at times, again, to me, the biggest lesson of the game is when we have the ball, we need to be more productive. We need to make the opponent run more. And then it has a similar effect to the effect on us. And we just didn't do that well enough. You know, when you look at any games at a high level, that's what it's about, how you can manage the ball when you're in possession.
Jeffrey.
Thank you. Hey, Greg. You've talked about not doing enough to keep the ball. I mean, why do you think that was? I mean, was it, you know, obviously the conditions were tough, but you know, they were the same for both teams. I mean, what kind of impacted your ability to keep the ball today?
Well, I think that it's just decision making. I think under you know, these conditions that you get stressed. You your decision making is affected. And I think sometimes, this is a group that hasn't played together. If you look at Canada, they've been together for the last month, the same group. They're very familiar with what they're doing, and it showed today. I give a lot of credit to the Canadian team as well, and John Herdman and what they're doing. We were forced to adapt with an injury, and it wasn't as comfortable for us. But that's part of the normal learning process. It's nothing that we're alarmed about. The effort was fantastic, and we wanted to win the group, and we won the group. They had to come into the game only needing a tie, and they didn't get it. And so for us, we're happy.
Haley Lewis.
Ask you about the hometown guy, or let me rephrase, the hometown kid, Busio, and his performance today. Every time he touched the ball, it seemed like the entire crowd would erupt in cheers. Just what he was able to do and how special it is for a guy at his age to be able to come out here and perform.
Yeah, Peter's been singing his praises for the last couple of years, and I really didn't have, full, I didn't really know what he was about until I started working with him. And when I see this kid in training and games, he is special. And for him to deal with the game like he did and to play the way he did, it shows a lot about his quality. I thought in the beginning of the game, he was excellent in his position. Again, we asked him to have a complicated role moving up in offense and down in defense, and he was able to understand it, grasp it, and perform well.
Two more questions. Michael McCall.
Hi, Greg. For years here in Canada, we've always looked at the US as a big rivalry game. I would say it's probably not been felt the same way down south of the border, but partly that's because the teams haven't played a lot, but you've had a few games now, you've got some more coming. How are you seeing this rivalry developing between these two young teams?
I think it's great. I think there's a lot of mutual respect for each other, but then there's also the tension and the competitiveness. And I said it yesterday, we're two programs in similar positions. A lot of our player pool is a result of Major League Soccer and the efforts they've done to develop players over the last 10 years. And it's fun. We're familiar with the team, and I like it that we go out in the field and we compete, and after we're able to talk to each other. I think that's a good sign. But I have a lot of respect for the Canadian team. I think it's a good team, and I'm excited to see what they do in qualifying.
We'll finish with Sergio Venegas.
Hi, good afternoon, Pedro Alemán for Deportes.com. Do you hear me well?
I do.
Perfect. After this game where the team manages to get the victory, what did you like and what you not like about your team, as well as what aspects will have to be improved for the next game?
Well, I think you're always looking to improve. No matter what the scoreline would have been, we always want to get better and use every game for information of how we can improve. Again, as I mentioned, I thought that the effort was outstanding. It's a type of effort where you have to win the game, and the guys dig in and we get the win, and that's what's most important. When we go into this knockout phase, it's going to be a similar type of mentality. You want to get to the next round, and you do anything you can to do that. So, we're excited about the quarterfinals. The Gold Cup is shaping up to have some great teams in the quarterfinals, and it's going to be exciting.
Thank you so much. With this, we conclude the press conference. To all media members, please stand by for the mix zone. Hi, Liam, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Everyone, we have Liam Fraser, number 8 from Team Canada. We'll start with the question of Tad Bell. Tad, go ahead. Can you please unmute yourself? Okay, we'll move to Neil Davidson.
Thank you. Hi, Liam. Neil Davidson from the Canadian Press. Would it be fair to say that you think your team deserved a better fate today?
Without a doubt. I thought the first minute of the game, we fell asleep, and that's just something that collectively we all have to do better in. It's happened a couple games now, so it's something that we definitely got to improve on. But for the remaining 75 minutes, we had them on the ropes. I think of a couple calls go our way. definitely things change, but I also think we do have to be more clinical in the box and finish the chances that we do create, because I feel like we're getting a lot of good opportunities to either get the ball in or get a shot off, and we're not doing so. But all in all, I really believe that we deserve to come out of there with 3 points and top the group.
Next question with Charles Boehm.
I know it's a difficult result, but given the way you bossed the game, how do you feel about the sort of the state of your competition with the US? I don't know if you consider it a rivalry, but it seems as though the gap has closed and maybe sets things up well for qualifying.
Yeah, for sure. We're not really thinking about qualifying now. It's more this tournament and winning this tournament. The gap is no longer there. We're a team that holds great players, great attacking players, great defensive players. We control the game. If that doesn't show everybody where we're at as a team, then I don't know what will. But like I said, it's a result that we have to win, and we have to come out of there with 3 points.
Liam, thank you so much. Now we'll continue with player number 12, Tajon Buchanan. Hi, Tajon.
Hi.
We'll start with Derek Van Diest.
Hey, Tajon. Just want to ask you about, these games where you're playing an intense game and playing an intense rivalry. You're not going to get a call going your way sometimes. And I guess how important are these games to kind of get used to playing these? Because these are the games you're going to be playing coming up with mean a lot. I guess how important is a lesson like this today?
I think, yeah, it's a very important lesson. Obviously, I didn't personally, I don't think the ref was good today, to be honest. But yeah, sometimes, calls don't go your way. We got to just keep fighting and keep pushing through it. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if we just play our game and kind of don't worry about that, we'll get the calls. Hopefully we do. But yeah, if we take care of business on the field, then, the result will hold for ourselves.
Andrea Canales.
Tajon, Herdman has been praising you since the first game of the tournament, and he specifically mentioned that he thought your shot to the corner, if you were just a bit fresher, it was really hot out there and very tiring for everybody, would have probably gone in. How did you feel about it? Are you thinking that you were also affected by the weather conditions?
Yeah, obviously it was hot out there, but everyone had to play through it. So we can't use that as an excuse. But yeah, like you said, I guess I've been putting in good shifts, but today, I take responsibility on the first goal because I fell asleep on that. But yeah, we got to take the positives from this game and move on to the quarters.
The last question with Paul Tenorio.
Tajon, I wonder if you could, what's the growth been like for you this year, and how confident are you, just considering your performances at the club level, and now you seem to really be embracing your opportunities here with Canada on the international stage? Thank you.
Yeah, I kind of let the viewers make that assumption. I think I've grown a lot over the last year. Kind of just enjoying my football right now. Working hard every time I get on the training field and the game field. And yeah, and just always trying to get better. And nothing's ever guaranteed and stuff like that. So I'm just the type of person that's just going to keep working hard and hopefully the results show.
Thank you, Tajon. Now we'll finalize the mix on with Team Canada with goalkeeper Maxime Crépeau. Hi, Maxime.
How are you?
We start with Derek Van Diest.
Hey, Maxime. I just wanted to ask you about, obviously gave up an early goal. You get a penalty that should have been a penalty that probably wasn't called, and you lose one of your players in 20 minutes. I just want to ask you about the response of the team to be able to kind of, after all that adversity through the first 20 minutes, to be able to kind of take control of the contest and really probably guys deserve better. But just can you give me a thought on just the character of this team to try and get all that past you and then take control of contest after that?
Yeah, to be honest, they got their chance in the first minute, and it's the only chance of the game that they have. So for sure, it's a frustrating result. The 1-0 is frustrating for us, and it kind of ate us the first few seconds after conceding. But then we need to react, and we did. In fact, this is our game for 75 minutes, and they were on top of us for the first 15, and that's it. So now we got to regroup, do our homeworks, and analyze what we've done good, what we need to do better, and then be ready for the quarterfinals.
Andrea Canales.
Maxime, it seemed on the goal that you were sort of focused on the threat from Jossie Sardes coming down the center and trying to collect that cross, which is, I guess, maybe went by faster than was expected.
Correct. Legit put that ball in, and I have to play the first man. If I do not play that first ball and he gets on top of that, well, that's on me. So I need to play that first runner, and then it goes to the second post, and it's a no tap in.
One last question with Haley Lewis. Haley, go ahead. We'll move to Paul Tenorio.
Maxime, I wonder whether this game gives you confidence, regardless of the result, when you start looking towards September, even past this tournament and World Cup qualifying. The U.S. is one of the first teams you face. Do you feel like this team believes it can play with anyone, and that maybe it's put the U.S. on notice a bit? Thank you.
100%, this team can compete with everyone in CONCACAF, and we've been closing the gap for the past 2-3 years, and put people on alert. I'm pretty sure in the U.S. locker room, in the back of their mind, they had the game in Toronto that we played last year, and we had the game that they beat us in Florida. So on the pitch today comes down to small details, and anyone in CONCACAF knows that our program improved the past few years, and we have the quality, we have the depth. It's a young squad with some experienced guys as well. So honestly, we can compete, and this tournament, our goal is to go all the way, and then we'll take one game at a time, 145 at a time, and we got to regroup, work really hard in training, and prepare for the quarterfinal, and then carry on that rhythm into September for the World Cup qualifying.
Maxime, thank you so much. With this, we conclude the mix zone with Team Canada. Please stand by for Team USA.
Thank you.
We have Miles Robinson from Team USA. We'll start with the question of Jeffrey Carslide.
Thank you. Hi, Miles. Greg talked about how hot it was out there today, but how difficult was it to kind of keep Canada at bay? And why don't you think you were able to keep the ball better as a team?
Yeah, obviously scoring that early goal, it can kind of change the whole dynamic of the game. So we, decided, or we had to defend maybe more than we wanted to, but I think we held strong in the back and grinded out the results. So I'm happy about that.
Karen Peña.
Hi, good evening. Thinking about the next stage, which team do you prefer to face in the next game?
I don't think I have a preference. I think it's just about us right now at this moment. We're just going to focus in on ourselves and how we can get better, and go from there.
One last question with Ives Galarcep.
Miles, you talked about the way you were able to hold on as a defense with everything they were throwing at you. What did you think about how James and Sam did? Obviously, you had a good game yourself, but what did you think of how they performed, especially James with everything that he had to do moving into midfield and defending?
Yeah, I think he had a great game. Obviously, he's great on the ball, so he had to move into that kind of sixth role with the when we had the ball and move it around for us, but also drop into a back three defensively. So he's very strong. And obviously Sam was very strong as well.
but I'm happy for all the guys that played today. I think we did a good job just fighting for each other in this country, and I'm proud.
Thank you, Miles. Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
We have player number 10, Christian Roldan. Hi, Christian.
Hello.
Hi, we start with Jeffrey Carlisle.
Hi, Christian. Obviously you came on into the game late, but from what you saw from the bench, why was it such a struggle to keep the ball today? And how did you think you managed the game, after you entered the match?
Yeah, I felt like we couldn't build pressure as much as we wanted to. Obviously, with a hot day, it makes it more difficult. But when you score one early, in football, you see the other team grow, and you see the other team have to push forward. So I think that's what we saw. But when I came in, just wanted to slow the game down a little bit. Put the ball into the channel a little bit more, find runs behind, give a little bit more energy that we were lacking. We at the end of the day, we couldn't slow the game down with possession, but we did with good defending.
Andrea Canales.
Hi, Christian. When Walker goes down, obviously he's the team captain. You go back to the earlier edition of the Gold Cup. When you step on the field, what kind of leadership are you looking to provide? How do you communicate with your players in order to, just guide them through a tricky, tight match?
Yeah, being vocal. Walker is extremely vocal, and when you miss a guy like that, you need guys to step up around him, around the team. So being vocal first and foremost, and then leading by example is key. We have a young, sometimes naive, innocent group, guys that haven't played in too many CONCACAF games that are difficult. Refereeing is different. The competition is different, so we have to be savvier in the way we close games out, and also communicate. Save each other from running way too much, and so when Walker goes down, you need guys to step up and be a little bit more vocal.
We'll take last one with Ives Galarcep.
Christian, what did you think of how the defense held up? Obviously, there was so much pressure, especially in the second half, and two guys in Miles and James who really put in a ton of work today. From what you saw on the sideline and from when you came in, what did you think of what those two guys were able to do today?
Yeah, those two guys were fantastic for us, James, Miles, and then I'd love to throw Donovan into the mix. It's his second cap coming in. With the quick warm up and having to play, there's always going to be some shaky moments for a player like Donovan, but to bounce back, it's extra special. But back to Miles and James, they were fantastic. They were on the ball. They were smart. They were savvy. Defensively, they were our rock. Miles in particular saves us so much running with his 1v1 defending. He's such a fantastic guy to watch, and the way he covers ground is something that we love about Miles. So James, he unlocks the game with his composure and his ability to play breaking lines with his passes. So those guys will have many more caps to come, and we have so much depth in that position.
Thank you.
Christian, thank you so much. With this, we conclude your mix-on. Now we'll invite player number 20, Shaq Moore. Hey, Shaq.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We'll start with the question of Sean Goodwin.
Yep, good win.
It was a good win, Shaq. Just real quick, when Walker Zimmerman goes down, you guys lose your leader, your captain on the back line, and being on that back line, how tough is it when a guy like him goes down and goes out early, and how do you adjust to that injury and the change?
Yeah, like you said, it was a tough blow seeing Walker go down. He's our leader, our emotional leader, our everything in the back line. So obviously, next man up. We know that we're gonna face adversity, and that was just one. And I think Donovan came in and did a great job. And yeah, anytime you have the opportunity to come in, you gotta take advantage of it. So, but yeah, I think we're with Walker, and I hope he recovers quickly.
Andrea Canales.
Shaq, that run you made to score the goal, was that something that you've been practicing and training? Did Greg give you the green light to, be right up there with the forwards?
Yeah, with the system we play with the 3-5-2 with the wing backs, he always wants us to get in the box and try to be dangerous. And yeah, today I was able to get to the back post and tap it in. So definitely happy about that.
We'll finish with Charles Boehm.
Shaq, congrats on the goal. I know it's you've had a lot of ups and downs on your professional pathway and your path to this point as a U.S. national team player, going all the way back to the youth national team. So I just wonder if you could share a little bit of the emotions of that moment and what you were feeling as you ran and got to celebrate.
Yeah, it was like, I felt like it was all the emotions, the good, the bad, the ugly, all in one moment, so definitely, a proud moment for me right now. Obviously it happened so fast. I didn't really take it in, but looking back at it right now, I think it was definitely a proud moment. And but yeah, now we're just enjoy it tonight and then move on and try to focus on the quarterfinal.